With the trial of Professor Yunus now underway, along with 188 global leaders, including 108 Nobel laureates, I am also calling on the government of Bangladesh to desist this heinous act.
Let's create a pressure on the government of Bangladesh to stop the current legal court proceedings against Professor Yunus, and thus we can create a world that is more sustainable, secure, and fair for all. Thank you.
So I'd like to give the floor for the last word, please, to the child rights activist Faatiha Aayat. It's appropriate to finish with her because she can explain to us or remind us all for what we are fighting.
Thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to speak here today. My name is Faatiha Aayat. I am a 12-year-old child rights activist and climate campaigner, and I'm a regular speaker at the UN. And it was a pleasure to listen to this wonderful panel. And I would like to thank the panel and the other discussants for acknowledging the fact that it is the ultimate transformation of conventional commerce into a sustainable and inclusive trade actually comes from our youth, the future leaders of tomorrow. And to illustrate this concept a bit more, I'd like to draw inspiration from the story of the Nobel Peace Prize laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus. We all know that Muhammad Yunus, the founder of Grameen Bank, pioneered a revolutionary approach to alleviate poverty through microcredit and microfinance. His journey began in Bangladesh, a country where poverty was rampant, especially among young women and girls. Professor Yunus recognized the untapped potential within the impoverished communities and believed that economic empowerment could be a catalyst for transformation. His vision was not just about making profits. It was about social justice and empowering the most vulnerable members of society. But today, what are we witnessing with apprehension? The Nobel Prize laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus is being intimidated and harassed through legal proceedings. In fact, for the last 13 years, the government of Bangladesh has been persecuting him as part of a much broader assault on human rights, democracy, and the rule of law. With the trial of Professor Yunus now underway, along with 188 global leaders, including 108 Nobel laureates, I am also calling on the government of Bangladesh to desist this heinous act. So, what can we learn from Professor Muhammad Yunus and his approach to transforming for trade? It underscores the importance of youth in shaping this transformation. Yunus himself was a young economics professor when he started his journey.
Brought the profound shift in the way that we think of economics and development today. His example teaches us that profit and social impact are not mutually exclusive, and this aligns perfectly with the aspirations of today's youth, who are seeking meaningful work and not just a way to get monetary gain. What Professor Yunus did was not merely a charitable act, it was a complete paradigm shift, a total transformation of traditional trade of social business. He showed us that the conventional model of top-down profit-driven capitalism could be supplemented and even surpassed by a bottom-up approach that prioritizes social impact. When we empower the marginalized and the underserved, we create a more equitable and just society for all. I would like to finish by reminding you that Professor Yunus's work is inspirational to all of us, focusing on how social business can be a force for international progress, resulting in zero poverty, no unemployment, and neutral carbon emissions. Let's start this big journey by a small step. Let's start this big journey by a small step. Let's create a pressure on the government of Bangladesh to stop the current legal court proceedings against Professor Yunus, and thus we can create a world that is more sustainable, secure, and fair for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.